Well, this is September 15th, middle of September, very late summer, early fall, whatever you want to call it. Just a brief run through of the garden as it stands now. Everything is kind of given up for the year for the most part. Crimson Queen. It's got a few shoots. It's putting out some fresh stuff. Late flush of leaves this time of year. But it's kind of given up the ghost. The I forget what flavor of rhododendron that is, but for some reason it decided it wants to bloom now. It must be under some sort of stress. I've been babying it along with the other one over there, same flavor. Again, this Picea abies, I think it is. I don't remember the precise name. I've got to find that. I've got the tag somewhere. It seems to be happy here, and it's just growing. And unlike the one in the backyard, the deer have left this one alone so far. We've got the Moonfire Japanese maple there. It's looking kind of, it's seen better days. Had a good year with the Japanese beetles this year. I've been on a constant Japanese beetle eradication. For some reason, this is the tree they like the most in my yard. Probably because it's under some sort of stress. This is one that the builder put in and they just stuck it in the mud. I should have dug it up and replanted it properly, but I did not. And it's probably a little too large to do that now. The camellias, these three camellias, were also just stuck into the mud when the house was built. That big freeze we had 2 years ago froze them to the ground. I had cut them to the ground, and they recovered. They've grown back. I probably should have dug them up and replanted them properly, but again, it is what it is. That's what they are. There's some wild blackberry down there. I've just noticed it's popped up here recently, apparently. The yews are fine. Echinacea gigantica there. There were some, this part of the garden was my project for this year, and I didn't get to it. Again, this was just planted with some stuff from the contractor that built this house, and it was pretty rough. Got a couple of Gara in there that I've cut back already. It's a nice little garden. My plan was to dig up this downspout over here and reroute it, but I still may do that this year because that's part of the problem. It stays incredibly wet every time it rains. A couple dwarf Burford hollies, 2-3 of them over here, and again just a little collection of whatnots over here. Echinacea gigantica. I forget what that's called. I forget the Latin name, but it's known as the Mexican petunia. Those were a couple of seedlings. That's a Scabiosa gigantica back there. That I don't remember if I had filmed that previously, but it gets 4 or 5 feet tall. Flower spikes in early summer. It's quite nice. The trees that the deer went wild on, I've protected. I need to protect the rest of them. I did go ahead and pull up all the metal edging around all my trees and just did I forget what they call it, just dug around it, edge. The boys helped me do that, so that kind of turned out okay. The yard is still pretty rough. Lantana, there's some lantanas, you see that around here. Some zinnias that I know I got them super dirt cheap somewhere on closeout. This is distressing. I'll take a picture of it later, but it's a Some Heliopsis, they called it swamp sunflower. And last year it was magnificent. It was 3, 4 feet tall with just loads of blossoms here. It's budding out, but it just doesn't look that great. We'll see what happens. A couple of Japanese maples, forget the flavors right there. These rudbeckia, the goldfinches go wild on these things. They love them. They eat the petals. They eat the seeds. They just love these things. I will continue to leave them grow there. Over here, this is the name is eluding me. It's a Chinese paper bush, they call it. Edgeworthia. It has really taken off. It really likes it here. And I'm going to have to resituate. I got a rhododendron here and a rhododendron on the other side, which were supposed to be there for the winter interest. The Edgeworthia has really taken off like crazy. But it will start flowering in January, February, and we'll see what that looks like there. This was called Endless Summer Hydrangea, and it's been very disappointing. It's probably me, probably don't have it situated well. Another one of the Heliopsis swamp sunflowers. Again, this was, you get a better idea of how tall it was, but that storms, we had some terrible storms the other days. Hurricane kind of, we're on the edge of whatever the hurricane was, and it just kind of decimated that guy. So we'll see. Everything else just seemed a lot of annuals I got going. The butterflies and the bees, kind of like them. I'm having a brain fart. But the Picea, that's not Abies, Picea pungens is globoso back there. This looks good. Picea pungens, ruby teardrops here. All those cones were bright red when they come out in the spring. They're wonderful. Just the agapanthus is giving its last flush of the summer here. Again, the Mexican petunia, don't remember what it's called. Again, some annuals, and some stone crop back there. Picea globoso there. And again, just some lantana. We've had a interesting summer. Haven't had a whole lot of butterflies, but we're getting the last of the swallowtail brood for this year has used our garden this year. Previous years we've had them all summer long. This year, this is the first round of caterpillars I've seen. So I guess I hope they will overwinter here, and we'll have some in the spring. There's some white ghost pepper that I planted. Those are incredibly hot, and I just need to stop doing that because they're just too hot. A little barrel cactus. Oh, the flower is about gone. It's been flowering this year for the first time. That's interesting. I like that. Another agapanthus. And I've cut back the coneflowers. I don't really like to cut back the coneflowers, but they just look so terrible here in the front of the house. I like to leave them up for the wildlife. They tend to like them. They like the seeds, and they like to overwinter in them. That's, I think, this is standard hydrangea, obviously, but it's I believe it to be limelight. And again, this storm we had the other day did a number on it. It looked more ragged than it had been. And down here in the south, the flower heads, they're bright white, brilliant white in the summertime. And up north, or where it gets more cool evening, it gets cooler in the evening, they turn kind of pinkish. Here they just kind of go brown. And they're still kind of interesting. They have some interest to them, and I typically leave them on. They hold a lot of water, and it gets very heavy, and cause some stress on the branches, but that's okay. I'll cut it back late winter and flush out again in the spring. And hiding in the back, we've got the, I think it's called Pride of Mobile, rhododendron back there. They're supposed to be heat tolerant. I don't know. We'll see. they've been doing okay this year. They look the best this year that they've been since I've been in the house. Some hostas, which of course in Alabama, they actually don't look as bad as they have in the past. That's a Picea AB's Gold Drift in the spring. They come out incredibly yellow. They are just fantastic. I've got 2 of those there to give me some evergreen interest over the winter. Again, another hosta. The names have been lost to history. Another Rudbeckia. I've got one more azalea. Again, that was a victim when it was in the ground originally of the freeze we had. I cut it all the way back and it survived. And now these chrysanthemums, they were in pots last year and I was lazy and they were just kind of laying around all winter and they survived the winter and they flushed out in the spring. So I just stuck them in the ground and we'll see what color they are. I have no idea what color they are. We'll find out here probably in a couple weeks. This agapanthus, I think he might be done for the year. Russian sage there. The little green penguin. It's a Pinus sylvestris. Got 2 of those there. I'm going to order a couple more of those, I think, because they seem to be very happy there. It's putting out another late flush. Evergreens tend to do that. At the end of the summer when it cools off a little bit, it's like, oh, I can grow a little bit. During the heat of the summer, they tend to just withdraw and just try to stay alive. Again, just some annuals and some cone flowers here. Daylilies, I keep threatening to dig them up, and they're beautiful. I don't know if I've ever took any photographs of them, but they are incredible, like peachy color. They just look wonderful when they're in bloom, and the deer haven't eaten them, and the deer did not eat them this year. So that was interesting. That was good. Some ginger a friend Steve gave me. It's not in bloom at the moment. There's a blossom. It's wonderful. It's got a great scent. I don't like it here. I don't like the texture. It just doesn't go here. So I'm gonna overwinter it, and I'll dig it up in the spring and plant it somewhere. This pyrocanthus put in earlier. Again, the storm we had the other day kind of broke off some of the support. I'm gonna have to restake that for the winter, and then I'll cut it back next in the spring after it flowers. So let it get a little more structural, a little more strength, a little more structurally sound. This is a butterfly mint. It was in a pot the other day during the storm, and it blew off that little wall that you probably saw earlier, and it just smashed the pot. Pollinators go mad for that. That's going to be a staple in the garden from now on. I don't know if it'll overwinter. I'm not going to put it in the ground because as a mint it will just take over, but it's in a pot. I will always have it in a pot in the garden. Lime tree, lemon and lime tree. Got a few lemons on there. I don't know if you can see them. There's a couple of lemons on there. There's one there. I guess they'll mature in the garage over winter. And again, everything's kind of shagged out after a prolonged squawk, if you will, if you're a Monty Python fan. Again, it's just the end of summer. My Takumiyama Japanese maple there, he's looking pretty, he's tired. Another agapanthus over there. I'll probably start bringing them into the garage soon, just because I don't want to be stuck doing them all at once. I'll bring them in a little bit at a time. There's my MG. There's not a whole lot of going on over here at the moment. Again, it's just late summer. Got some cone flowers, just whatnot couple of the daisies. I forget what they're called. Oxeye daisies. I don't remember what. Echinacea gigantica. Another rhododendron. He's looking. I can't keep him green. He's got chlorosis. He greens up in the spring, and then over the course of the summer, he just turns more and more yellow. So I've tried. I've tried everything that you're supposed to do to get rid of the chlorosis. I've tried chelated irons. I've done it all. We'll just see how he does. This guy was the Japanese umbrella pine, sciatica. I always want to say sciatica. I forget exactly what it's called. He was a victim of the freeze a couple years ago. He's decided he wants to live, so I've got to find a spot for him. I'd like to get him in the ground, so I don't have to deal with him over the winter freezing and all that kind of fun stuff. That little rhododendron back there, native rhododendron, is called Miss Mary. I planted it there outside my mother's room because her name is Mary. Again, it froze to the ground and it's been coming back, so it looks like it'll bloom. This, I forget what this guy is here, this red guy. It was supposed to be for the pollinators and hummingbirds, and I haven't seen too much activity there. This was one of my Confederate azaleas, and he's just not happy. I brought him from my old house, and he's been slowly dying. I can see if I can't try to graft him or root him and try to get something going with him. It's a wonderful orange. I don't know. It's wonderful. And another rhododendron there, native rhodie that, yeah, I don't think it's not very happy there. This is the Shishikashira maple. It's got an interesting shape to it. Lion's head is what it's called in English. This is what the deer do to me. I don't know how they eat ghost peppers, but they eat the ghost peppers. Why they ate that one and not that one or that one, I have no idea. But there you go. Oh boy, look at all the bugs on the butterfly weed. That's butterfly weed. I'm told, or I'm reading, that that's a non-native, that's a subtropical one, and it stays in bloom too long for the butterflies for the monarchs to use it. And they got another pepper bush. Look at that. They ate that. And look, I think that's rabbits there, because I keep chasing the rabbits out. This might be rabbits eating my peppers. I don't know. That's the sea holly. The botanical name escapes me at the moment. It may come to me. And just, again, everything's just trying to get out one last gasp of summer before winter sets in, fall sets in. I guess that'll do it.